What is going on, traders? Welcome back to the Traveling Trader. Happy Thursday to you. Let us get right into it and talk about this Bitcoin drop, and then we'll get into the rest of the cryptocurrency market and talk about the equities and stock market as well. So, looking at the total crypto market cap. If you followed my video, if you follow me on TradingView, follow me on TradingView, by the way, and you'll see that I did post an idea on TradingView, not on Bitcoin's chart, but on the crypto total market cap and how this can give us a lead as to what might happen with Bitcoin. Now, there is sort of like a chicken or the egg issue here where, does Bitcoin dictate the total crypto market cap or vice versa? And I think that at different times, they both play into each other in different ways, meaning one dictates the other depending on what the market situation is. Anyway, I was saying that on the total crypto market cap, we were forming this head and shoulders, and if we fell below the 100-day moving average, this yellow line on the total crypto market cap, that could spur Bitcoin's drop as well. And what we do is look for confluence, right? We're not fortune tellers, we're technical analysts. And when you look at Bitcoin's chart on the 1 day, you'll see that it was forming this pennant. And because this pennant did come from an uptrend, most of the time you expect to break to the upside. However, the weakening volume, the weakening momentum on both the RSI and the MACD, as well as the fact that Bitcoin's dominance was growing and the total crypto market cap was on the verge of collapsing because of this bearish pattern, then that would give us sort of an indication that the most likely scenario was a drop from here. I did on my very last video, I said if I was to bet on the direction of where we would break out from this, I would bet on the downside just because of all of these factors that I talked about. Again, we're not fortune tellers. You're trying to ascertain what is the most plausible or probable scenario and not necessarily try to be a predictor and said, aha, see, I was right. Because all you're trying to do is give your portfolio the best chance to win. We're in this game to trade. This isn't, we're not in this for any other reason than to profit. And if you are, if there's another reason why you're buying and selling these coins, then you should rethink your strategy. And, it's great to be invigorated or encouraged by Bitcoin or crypto's ideas. But if you're going to engage in trading, meaning the buying and selling of coins, then your only reason for doing so should be to profit. Anyway, rant over. Let's get back into this. So, those factors that I discussed, along with the fact that Bitcoin was forming a bearish pattern within this pennant. You see this head and shoulders here. And we'll talk about head and shoulders because they're popping up everywhere. It continues to be the dominant pattern or the dominant theme in the crypto market currently. So you have this head and shoulders. We did break to the downside. We confirmed the head and shoulders pattern. And we broke below the support line of the pennant, which is also the 100-day moving average. Now, obviously, we break down, and the number one question is, how far can we go? And again, we're not fortune tellers, so we look for the most probable moves. Well, obviously, we have this 9100 support line here. I'll just change the color real quick, but we have this 9100 support line. And the way that we determine that is because this is exactly where Bitcoin stopped on July 17th and also on July 28th. So that is the first logical place to look to, right? And it would confirm the head and shoulders is already confirmed because we're below the neckline. So the extent of this drop is something that can't really be measured by the head and shoulders alone. So the 9100 is the next logical level. I do have buys around this range. And if you want access to the trade alerts, by the way, where I send out these levels on all the coins and the stocks that we're trading, link is in the description. So 9100 is one of the logical support ranges. The next one is the 21 weekly EMA. Now, I've been talking about this for, I want to say 4 to 5 weeks now. I keep harping on this 21 weekly EMA, and I do sound like a broken record. And the reason is, again, because we're not fortune tellers, we're analysts, and the fact that Bitcoin spent so many days without retesting it, the last time we were at the 21 weekly EMA was April 1st of this year. So if you measure this is, if we extend another week before hitting the 21 weekly EMA, we will tie or break the record for the longest number of days without hitting it, right? We're currently at between 150 and 160 days that we haven't touched the 21 weekly EMA. And when we were back up here, when we were, you know, at $13,000 and $14,000, it seemed so out of reach. And when I was saying it, I wasn't really ridiculed, but some people, you know, commented on the channel and whatnot and on the Discord saying that it seemed unlikely. However, now that we're at 9,400, 9,500, you see that the 21 weekly EMAs is around $9,000. So it is, you know, let's actually measure it. And you could see precisely how far we are from the 21 weekly EMA. It's not even that, you know, that far down. It's another 5 to 6% drop and we'll hit it. And you want to hit the 21 weekly EMA. You want to see these prices regress to the mean and get it out of the way, so to speak, so that we can continue on the rally and not have to think about this looming inevitability, right? Like, it's inevitable. Things can't go up forever. We are going to hit the 21 weekly EMA at some point, and now we're very close, and we might as well do it now so that we can get it out of the way. Now, one thing to note is, yes, although I did think that we would break down from this daily chart, it doesn't mean that I'm bearish, right? You could have bearish sentiment, or I guess a downside outlook on the market in the interim, but in the long term, I'm actually very much bullish. These are just normal market cycles that have to take place in order for Bitcoin to continue a bull rally, because like I said, we can't be linear forever. So looking at the Gaussian channel, and I talked about this indicator, I'll link to the video here, but this indicator is turning green for the first time, you know, since the end of 2018. After being red for almost a year, not quite a year, but maybe 10 months, 9-10 months after being red, and now we're finally green again. And in that video, I talked about the importance of this indicator looking at historical market data, and when this turns green, essentially you can bet on the market being on a long-term bull rally upcoming. And then I also talked about the Bitcoin price models on woobull.com. And how, you know, if you look at, obviously, since the beginning of when Bitcoin hit exchanges, that we've continued to make higher highs, right? And this continues to be a great pricing model to determine what is the next high. Now, it doesn't really tell you when. As I've stated before, these two highs came within a few months of each other. These two highs came within 4 years of each other. So, you know, it's not really telling of when we will hit the next high, but you know, it is telling that for sure the next high, or as certain as one can be in the markets, the next high will surpass the previous one. And it's looking like this high above the 20K high that we saw is around $56,000 or $57,000. Now, again, we could be talking years out in advance. I'm not saying that's what we're going to hit this year or even next year. It could be in 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years, but that is what is coming for Bitcoin. So to wrap up Bitcoin, in summary, I do think that we are headed towards the 21 weekly EMA. 9,100 is where I would bank on hitting the 21 weekly EMA. If we do hit that 9,100, obviously we'll be right around there because this is around 9K. So I do think that we are going to hit the 21 weekly EMA either this week or within the next couple of weeks before seeing a rally. And, you know, I'm not saying we're going to stop there. We could see a round of sell-offs or a bunch of liquidated longs, right? In the same way that there's a short squeeze, there's also a phenomenon called a long squeeze. We could see that and propel down to the 50 weekly EMA, which is this red line here, which is around 76 or 7,700. But that will have to be determined once we hit the 21 weekly EMA and see how the markets react to that. All right, a couple of coins that we'll look at. We'll look at Ethereum. We'll look at the big ones because that is what people are most interested in now, right? Like you want to trade the fringe alts when the market is good or when we're in an alt season, right? But I don't really look at fringe alts when I'm looking to make mid to long term decisions on, again, especially against USDT. So I'm looking at the top alts currently and looking at Ethereum against USD. You'll see that we broke the descending wedge pattern, and it looks like the 50, which is this orange line, is headed towards the 200 MA, which would signify a death cross. We are headed towards oversold levels again on the RSI, but the volume is just utterly atrocious on Ethereum. Now, where would I be buying on Ethereum? Again, how do you establish support and resistance levels? Well, there's a few ways to do that besides the moving averages. You could set up something like the Fibonacci retracement, which is precisely what we use it for, is to try and determine the level or the extent of a retracement or a move, whether it's downwards or upwards, right? In this case, it's a downward move. And so you see that the 0.786, we're well below the 0.618. The 0.786 is around 142. You can also use, there's a myriad of support and resistance indicators on TradingView that you can use. And this one is called support resistance zone. And it's pretty simple, but it allows you to get a visual for where historical support and resistance zones have been. And we're currently in this one that we saw back here in May 2018, right? We're at that same level. The next one down here is between, you know, I'd say 150 and 156. So there's potentially a good buying opportunity for Ethereum between 142 and 155, I would say. And I'm not really looking at Ethereum above that price level currently, especially because the volume is atrocious and we are headed towards oversold levels on the RSI, and the MACD is just sloping downwards as well. Looking at XRP, if we look at XRP, this is a weird one because regardless of what the market has been doing, yeah, I mean, we do see this downward price action going from the highs that we saw back in June. But XRP really hasn't shown a willingness to go below 25 cents. And 25 cents has been a pretty good swing trading level for us in recent history. And looking at XRP, we are back at around that level again. And it looks like it's holding up regardless of what the market is doing. This looks to be a low for XRP between 23 and 25 cents. Obviously, we can go below it. But based off of precedents, I would expect to be trading more or less sideways on XRP during this market drop. And I would actually feel comfortable making long-term trade decisions around this range, meaning you can scale in for the long term around this range for XRP. Looking at Litecoin, this is one that has just taken a beating, especially because it was the clear winner of our cryptocurrency bull run that we saw starting back in December 2018. It was LTC and BNB were really leading the way. And you know, Litecoin now forming this massive head and shoulders pattern, confirming it by breaking below the neckline. The 50 is even closer to the 200 moving average than it is on Ethereum. And it looks like we are in for more downside price action. We're even going to have to shift our fib, the one fib level, from where we had measured it down to one of these previous swing lows. Or you can do something like include the extension levels on the fib. And you could do that by activating it here. So we go to the 1.272, and you'll see, for instance, at the 1.272, the next level down from the 1 is at $45. Again, you can open up something like the support and resistance zones that I showed you on the Ethereum chart, and you could see that there is support at between the 1 and the 1.272 fib levels. There is support at around between $53 and $56, right? So somewhere between $45 and $55 is where I'd be looking to buy back Ethereum. Again, I will be sending these levels in the trade alerts, so sign up if you want access to those. Looking at the equities markets, it's been a pretty nice bounce today. The Dow is up. Almost all the major indices are up around 1 1/3 percentage points. The Nasdaq up 1.5%. But yeah, I mean, a tremendous bounce back today. Dow Jones is up 350 points, and I mean, we've just been killing it in the stock market, especially in relation to the cryptocurrency market, which was a pretty dull market for the last month or so, trading mostly sideways. I showed you that the Bitcoin volatility was was super low. But yeah, we've been making killer gains on the VIX. This is the volatility index, right? And it basically, the more that the stock market is volatile, the more this will go up. This is actually the volatility for the S&P 500. And this right here, the TVIX, is the ETF that trades against that volatility itself. So we've been making in and out swing trades from this volatility and are about to enter another trade here, looking at the setup that I currently see, the volatility hitting inching towards the 50-day moving average in this orange line here. And it looks like we're about due for another entry at some point. I will be sending those out in the trade alerts. Shopify looking like a crypto in 2017 or at the end of 2018. I mean, look at this rally here. This, it's up, I think, about 180% this year, which is crazy. Here's December 2018, and here's where we are now. It's just one straight line up. We made a killing on Shopify, especially trading the options on Shopify, which obviously magnify your gains and could also magnify your losses. But we made 63% on a play on Shopify, and you could see how overbought it is. It's been overbought for what, 4 months now, which is insane. Surprisingly enough, I do think there is more upside action on Shopify left, especially that it's now transitioning into the direct consumer market in the same vein that Amazon, in the same realm that Amazon is in. So it's looking to expand its business in that market. And analysts are saying that this will be huge for Shopify. And most of the major analysts have upped their price targets on Shopify. It now has a target of $481, right? And it's currently trading at $396. So I'm very bullish on Shopify and will continue to trade the opportunities as they come. Gold is another one that we made a killing on, continues to make new highs. There seems to be an inverse correlation between gold and the stock market. Every time the stock market has a nice bounce, we see a little red candle on gold. I mean, it's not down very much. It went down from 145 to about 144 now. So because the stock market is having a good day, gold is seeing a little bit of a drop. What I imagine is happening is when there's negative sentiment in the stock market, traders are putting their money into gold ETFs and vice versa, right? When the market is doing well, they remove some of the equity from here and put it into stocks. Very FOMO-ish behavior as it relates to the markets. I did a video about what to do in a potential upcoming recession and how I'm getting prepared for the upcoming recession. I'll link that video here. Go ahead and check it out. It's really important, especially if you have some money exposed in the market. All right, guys, that is it for this video. Sign up if you want access to the trade alerts. The diamond traders and above also gives you access to the stock trade alerts. You also get access to our VIP voice chat where we discuss trading strategies, what stocks we're looking at, coins, charts, technical analysis, etc. If you are having trouble with your technical analysis or just want to take your technical analysis to the next level and would benefit from one-on-one coaching with me, we do those over video conference. That link is also in the description. It's the Centurion level on the Patreon page. So sign up if you want access to that. I take a maximum of 10 people a month and I have 2 spots left for September. I had 4, they are now filled up, and I have 2 left coming up for September. Leave a comment below if you have a question, comment, agreement, disagreement, etc. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell. Stay safe out there. Peace.